Level 1, Hour 1. You're 31. You stock shelves on the night shift, and your checking account has never once seen five figures. You drive a car with a check engine light that's been on so long you've stopped noticing it. Your landlord texted twice this week about rent being 4 days late. A lawyer calls at 11 p.m. and says a dead billionaire's estate has picked you, at random, for one condition: $1 billion unlocked in an account under your name for exactly 24 hours. Spend every last dollar of it before the clock runs out, or the entire estate reclaims all of it. Every purchase, every asset, gone. Not just the leftover balance. Everything you bought with it too, if even $1 remains unspent. No donations. Giving it to charity doesn't count as spending it. No cash gifts to family or friends either. That's just moving the problem, not solving it. No wiring it into another account of yours and calling it done. No gambling it away. A bet isn't a purchase, win or lose, no matter which way it lands. You ask him to repeat the number twice. He doesn't laugh either time. You say yes before he even finishes explaining what happens if you fail. The account lands in your name at 12:01 a.m. The clock starts the second it does. At midnight, alone, with no plan, you walk into a dealership that opened just for you. You buy a hypercar in cash without even sitting in it first. The salesman's hands shake worse than yours, filling out the paperwork. 2 designer watches follow, then a first-class ticket to nowhere in particular, just to keep moving. You tip a hotel concierge $10,000 for opening a door. You buy a second car 20 minutes later, mostly because you don't know what else to do with your hands. A jeweler you wake up over the phone agrees to open his shop for you at 12:40 in the morning. By 1 a.m., you check the balance on your phone in a parking lot. $998 million still sitting there, barely dented, mocking you from the screen. You do the math twice, hoping you got it wrong the first time. At this pace, it would take you roughly 400 years to spend it all, working alone. One person cannot physically spend $1 billion alone in a day, no matter how fast he moves. Level 2, Hour 6. You call an emergency wealth concierge line the lawyer mentioned and offer to pay triple for speed. By sunrise, you've got a broker, a real estate agent, and a lawyer standing in your kitchen, all on the clock. None of them ask why. All 3 just start dialing before you finish the sentence. You split them into lanes, real estate, vehicles, jewelry, and let all 3 move at once. The agent closes on a mansion in full cash before lunch, wired and signed same day. You've never seen the house. You buy it off 6 photos on a phone screen. The broker rolls up 5 more cars at once, still warm from the showroom floor. One of them still has the plastic wrap on the seats when it arrives. You walk into a jewelry store and buy out an entire display case, watches and all, in one motion. The owner locks the front door behind you so no one else can walk in and slow things down. You add a second concierge team just to keep pace with the first one. A property manager finds you a second house 2 states over, purely because it can close by phone before noon. Somebody hands you a coffee you didn't order and never bill you for it. The one thing all morning that's actually free. The balance actually moves now. Real numbers disappearing for the first time all morning. You hire a 4th person just to keep a running tally, since nobody trusts their own math anymore. For the first time all day, it feels like this might actually be possible. Level 3, Hour 12. Halfway through the clock, and small purchases aren't cutting it anymore. You need things that swallow tens of millions at once. The broker finds a private jet for sale, fully fueled, sitting on a tarmac 2 states over. You sign for it without ever seeing it in person, over a video call from your own driveway. A yacht broker gets a deposit wire moving on a boat still docked overseas. The wire trips a fraud flag at the bank. Too large, too fast, too strange for one account. You sit on hold for 41 minutes while a compliance officer decides whether you're real. Your lawyer is on a second line with the bank's fraud department, vouching for a man he met 6 hours ago. You pace the driveway during those 41 minutes like the wire itself might sense you watching it. It clears with seconds to spare, but you've lost time you didn't have to lose. You buy a second jet out of pure spite, just because the first purchase took too long. An art dealer sends over 3 paintings on approval. You buy all 3 without unwrapping them. A watch dealer 3 time zones away agrees to a call at what's the middle of his night, just for the sale. You buy a small stake in a minor league team, mostly because the owner picks up on the second ring. The clock suddenly feels heavier than the money does. Level 4, Hour 18, 6 hours left, and the only purchases fast enough now are the ones with the company attached to them. You buy a regional chain of restaurants outright, ownership transferred before the ink is even dry. 40 locations, 400 employees, and you couldn't name a single menu item in any of them. You buy out an entire hotel for the night. Every room, every guest comped and sent somewhere else. The staff keeps calling you Sir, like it's a title you've earned instead of a number in an account. Your phone buzzes. Your cousin, asking for help covering a medical bill. You want to just send it. You legally can't, and you have to tell her that out loud. She goes quiet on the phone in a way that stings worse than the money ever could. You end up buying the clinic's outstanding debt outright instead. Technically a purchase, not a gift. And it's something. She thanks you. You don't tell her about the $400 million still sitting there untouched. Your team buys a small manufacturing plant next, mostly because it comes with real estate attached to it. You buy every unsold unit in a half-built condo tower just to make one call do the work of 50. $600 million spent. Still hundreds of millions sitting there, and the hours are running out fast. Your team starts talking in numbers instead of items, millions per minute instead of what the millions actually buy. Nobody's eaten anything all day except gas station coffee and whatever the hotel keeps sending up. Level 5 hour 24. There's no time left for anything that needs paperwork or a signature that takes more than a minute. You're on the phone with all three of them at once, buying anything that can close before midnight. A warehouse of raw materials, a parking garage, an entire boat dealership's remaining inventory, sight unseen. You start overpaying on purpose. Twice the asking price, 3 times, just to move the number faster. Somewhere around 11:40, the concierge team stops negotiating altogether and just starts naming prices. A stranger's storage facility gets bought out over the phone in under 90 seconds, contents included. With 4 minutes left, the balance still isn't zero, and nothing left to buy is big enough. Your lawyer patches in a private art collection. 1 call, 1 signature, no time to think it over. 3 minutes left. Someone finds a warehouse full of unsold furniture and buys the entire building around it too. 2 minutes left. You buy out a small vineyard nobody had even listed publicly until tonight. 90 seconds left. Your hands are shaking harder than the car salesman's were 23 hours ago. 70 seconds. A commercial fishing fleet, boats and permits and all changes hands over speakerphone. 60 seconds. Someone reads out a number. You say yes, and you don't even ask what it was for. 30 seconds. The team stops talking entirely, all 4 of you just staring at the same screen. 0 seconds. The number on the screen finally reads 0. You stare at the phone for a full 10 seconds before you believe it. 24 hours ago, you were pricing out whether your car could make it another month. You're standing in a mansion you own, next to a jet you own, and none of it gets taken back. Somewhere in a warehouse 2 states away, 40 restaurants open tomorrow morning without knowing they have a new owner. If you made it all the way to the end, you're officially at the final level. Subscribe for the next journey. Leave your ideas in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.